In the quiet town of Hexham, Northumberland, England, a peculiar and chilling mystery began in 1971. Two small, intricately carved stone heads were discovered buried in a garden. They appeared to be ancient, their features sculpted with an eerie, almost supernatural precision. But what was most disturbing wasn't just their strange appearance. It was the bizarre events that followed their discovery. The family that found the heads in their garden was soon plagued by strange occurrences, including poltergeist-like activity and unexplained phenomena. As the mystery deepened, rumors circulated that the heads were connected to ancient pagan rituals, possibly linked to the Celtic or Roman periods. Were these heads relics of a long-forgotten civilization, or something much darker? Join us as we explore the haunting mystery of the Hexham Heads, their eerie origin, the terrifying events that followed their discovery, and the many unanswered questions that continue to surround this strange tale. The story begins in 1971, when a family living in Hexham decided to do some gardening in their backyard. As they dug into the soil, their spades hit something hard. What they uncovered was unlike anything they had expected. Two small stone heads, each about the size of a human fist. These heads were carved from stone, and their faces were grotesque and exaggerated, with features that appeared both human and animal-like. The heads were rough but detailed, with deeply carved eyes, mouths, and unusual markings. The family, initially curious about their find, set the heads aside and continued their gardening. However, they quickly noticed strange things starting to happen around their home. Unexplained noises echoed through the house, scraping sounds, knocks on the door, and even the feeling that something was watching them. Items would mysteriously disappear and reappear, and doors would open or close on their own. What began as a strange but intriguing discovery soon turned into a terrifying series of events. After the heads were unearthed, the family began to experience an escalating series of unexplained phenomena. The most disturbing of these was the poltergeist-like activity. Lights would flicker on and off by themselves, furniture would move without explanation, and items would be thrown across rooms, seemingly with no cause. The family members, understandably terrified, began to suspect that the heads had something to do with these strange occurrences. As the activity grew more intense, it seemed as if the heads were somehow influencing the house, perhaps even haunting it. One of the more chilling events occurred when the family's dog became suddenly agitated, barking wildly at the heads, as if it sensed something unnatural. It would not go near them, recoiling in fear whenever it came close. Visitors to the house reported a strange, oppressive feeling when they were near the heads, describing a sense of unease or discomfort. As the eerie occurrences continued, some began to wonder if the heads had been cursed or possessed by spirits. But who, or what, could have created these heads? And why did they seem to trigger such malevolent energy? The most widely discussed theory about the heads' origins is that they are somehow linked to ancient pagan rituals. Given their unusual and primitive appearance, some believed that the heads were part of a pagan cult, perhaps associated with Celtic or Roman-era rituals in the region. Northumberland, after all, had a rich history of Celtic and Roman occupation, and its rolling hills were dotted with ancient burial sites and sacred monuments. Some even speculated that the heads could have been used as ritual objects, possibly meant to represent gods, spirits, or ancestral figures. The exaggerated features of the heads, large, bulging eyes, furrowed brows, and wide, gaping mouths, suggested they were crafted to embody powerful and intimidating figures. Were they part of a larger ritualistic sacrifice? Were they meant to serve as guardians or symbols of protection, or perhaps as offerings to the gods? There was also the possibility that the heads could be relics from a lost civilization, perhaps remnants of a long-forgotten culture that lived in the area. In ancient times, artifacts like these were sometimes hidden or buried as a means of protecting them, either out of reverence or as a form of offering. The heads might have been buried centuries ago, waiting to be unearthed by accident, their origins long forgotten. One possibility, however, was that the heads were Roman artifacts. Roman soldiers were known to have encountered and interacted with the native Celts, and there are records of Roman soldiers commissioning small stone carvings to represent gods or spirits. Could the heads have been part of this Roman-Celtic exchange, perhaps used in private rituals or ceremonies? While all of these theories were intriguing, none could definitively explain the strange events surrounding the heads. Why, if they were simply ancient relics, had they caused such disturbing disturbances? And if they were part of an ancient ritual, why had they remained hidden for so long, only to be discovered by a family in 1971? The Hexham Heads quickly became the stuff of local legend. As news of the mysterious heads spread, people in the town began to discuss them in hushed tones. Some claimed the heads were cursed, while others believed they were haunted by the spirits of the long dead. According to local folklore, ancient artifacts like the heads had the power to awaken spirits or invoke ancient forces, especially when disturbed from their resting places. Some even believed the heads were linked to long-forgotten rituals, where the spirits of the dead were called upon for protection or vengeance. In small towns like Hexham, where superstition often runs deep, it was not unusual for strange objects to be viewed as cursed, especially when they had such an unusual and ominous appearance. The unexplained activity only added to the mythos surrounding the heads, and soon they were seen as objects of power, perhaps even dangerous relics. As the legend grew, stories began to emerge of other strange occurrences in the area, tied to the heads. Visitors reported feeling ill or dizzy after coming into contact with the stones, and some claimed to hear whispers or footsteps when no one was around. The presence of the heads seemed to influence not just the house where they were found, but also the surrounding community. Despite the mystery and the increasing unease surrounding them, the Hexham Heads were eventually sold to a private collector. The heads' fate after their sale is shrouded in mystery, and there are conflicting reports about their current location. Some say they were sold to a collector in the United States, while others believe they were passed on to a museum or kept in private hands. In recent years, the heads have largely faded from public consciousness, but their legend remains a part of Hexham's folklore. The heads continue to intrigue both believers in the paranormal and those fascinated by ancient history. They are reminders of a time when mysterious artifacts were thought to hold power over the living, and their unexplained origins continue to spark debate among historians, archaeologists, and paranormal investigators alike. The mystery of the Hexham Heads is one that may never be fully solved. While some theories suggest they are relics from an ancient pagan culture, others point to more recent origins, perhaps linked to local art or craftsmanship. The true story behind the heads remains hidden, and the strange occurrences that followed their discovery only add to the allure of this bizarre tale. Were the Hexham Heads simply an odd, antiquated curiosity? Or were they something much more? Were they cursed? Or were the paranormal events just the product of local superstition? As time passes, The mystery surrounding the Heads continues to baffle both skeptics and believers alike, keeping the legend alive for generations to come. The Hexham Heads are more than just a curious artifact. They are a symbol of a mystery that has captivated the imagination for decades. Whether you believe in the supernatural or the more grounded explanations, one thing is clear: the Heads' eerie origin and the strange events that followed their discovery will remain a part of local legend for years to come. What do you think happened with the Hexham Heads? Were they truly cursed, or just misunderstood relics from a forgotten past? Share your thoughts in the comments below.